one of the big success stories this year is the weight loss / diabetes drugs Ozempic and Wegovy from Novo Nordisk, and Mounjaro from Eli Lilly. Those have been two of the best performing stocks this year. I own both in stock of the week. We're up as of Monday. It's down a bit since then. It was up 83% in Eli Lilly in 7 months, and in Novo Nordisk was up 50% year to date. Really, just on the strength of these, weight loss drugs. And then now what we're seeing is those drugs are so strong, and the sales have been so strong that the consumer staples companies like Pepsi, McDonald's, Coke, and then some medtech stocks have been sold off recently, because the thinking is that, so part of what these drugs do is they, correct me if I'm wrong, they curb appetite or limit appetite for certain foods, right?
Yeah, that's my understanding, is that it ultimately.
I don't know a single person who takes any of them, so I am just going off what I read. Yeah.
Nor do I. My understanding is that it curbs the appetite by normalizing insulin and some like the metabolic pathways there. And what I've heard reported is that people that are on it, they're not saying, oh, I'm hungry or I'm craving these things. They're saying, I just don't feel like eating the things that my body used to tell me I felt like eating, like sweets and junk foods, the kind of the problematic stuff in our food system that leads to sort of society-wide obesity problems, right? It's like corn syrup, right? Okay, so you don't want that. You don't want that trigger anymore. Nestle also came out and they pointed to, or they announced that they were going to be trying to launch some companion products for people that are on Ozempic and Wegovy, which I would presume to be maybe some sort of lower sugar sweet, or maybe a small package sweet, right? Because people are eating less of them, but maybe are still willing to eat some. They didn't really elaborate on the companion piece of it. I know that we had talked about Coke saying, oh, we're a little bit worried people aren't going to, or an analyst saying that they're worried that people wouldn't keep drinking Coke. Those seem like a stretch to me.
Big stretch. Yeah. This seems like a classic overreaction. Like, are people going to stop going to McDonald's? I mean,
half the people
I know tons of people who go to McDonald's. Like I said, I don't know a single person who takes any of these. Now, granted, it's early in its, in its life cycle, but
most people that go to McDonald's do it because the food is affordable, or your kids like it, or you're in something of a, somewhat of a food desert and you have limited options. It's not as if the people that are otherwise shopping at Whole Foods and Sprouts constantly and not stepping foot in McDonald's, but are now on Ozempic it's like you're not losing customers there. I do think that there will be the companies that are likely to suffer knock-on effects. There are some out there. You mentioned some med tech names. I could easily see somebody that's in like the gastric bypass space, and I don't have any specific names that are in that segment, but somebody that's in a weight management sort of med tech segment specifically, I could see them taking a major hit. I wouldn't be particularly concerned about gyms, because that's not the only motivation, is not to lose weight. The one that did show up on my radar as being one that is probably likely to suffer is WW, Weight Watchers.
Yeah.
They've actually done fairly well this year. I think they're trading near 52-week highs, but a company that is exclusively dedicated to weight management seems like it could easily fall victim to an injectable, even if it is maybe outside of the price range of a lot of people that would otherwise use Weight Watchers. So I would lump them in with maybe some of the medtech manufacturers that are specifically looking at more invasive weight loss alternatives.
Yeah, I mean, here's the, I guess, high level question: would you be more inclined to invest in, let's keep it with consumer staples, the McDonald's, Pepsi's, Cokes, whatever, that have been knocked back as a result of this, weight loss frenzy, you be more inclined to invest in those stocks after being knocked back, or Eli Lilly or Novo Nordisk they've fallen back the last few days along with the market, but are essentially at or near all-time highs.
For the next like 6 months, I would say give me the momentum with Eli Lilly and with Novo Nordisk, and that also gives you a couple more quarters of sales numbers. Yep. Because I think that the deciding factor for these companies and some of the weight loss drugs is whether they turn into insulin, right, where they're life-saving and people are approaching them as ongoing maintenance drugs, things that they might be taking for the rest of their lives, or whether they're just much hyped, but maybe not super profitable vanity drugs. I'll say, I mean, I know it's a lifesaver, and I know it's a really significant, or contributes to really significant weight loss. And if you need something like that, God bless, by all means, use it. But one thing that came to mind was Pfizer, prior to the approval of Viagra, right? That's not a life-saving medication. It's something that is important, obviously, and it's
stuck around for 25 years,
Yeah, but Pfizer ran from $14 a share to $38 a share or so in early in 1996, right before FDA approval. And then it didn't touch those levels again until 2007, 2009, something like that. So it's like, yeah, huge blockbuster drug, tons of potential. Half the population could potentially be dealing with the issue, but it doesn't translate to great returns for the investment. If these weight loss drugs turn more into life-saving, a lot of people are on them, long-term effective, not a lot of long-term risk. I have heard that there's risk to kidney damage, and that it causes discomfort, constipation, nausea, things like that. If the side effects aren't too pronounced and these become daily, monthly, whatever, life-saving drugs that a huge chunk of the population is on, yeah, they've got more room to run. But until they show that's the actual sales pathway, right now it's top of mind for everybody, and the people that want it are struggling to get it. So sales look great because you've got really limited supply. But what happens when anybody who wants it can actually get it? Do you have 20% of the population pick it up and start taking it, or do you have 2.5% that can afford $16,000 a year, or whatever the treatment cost ends up being? I think I saw
that's
that.
The key. That's the key. Those prices, that's just not something everyone can afford. The general populace, way less affordable than Viagra, So I like both those stocks, Lilly and Novo Nordisk, again, especially the next 6 months, but I don't see them fundamentally changing, the way the places people eat at, or the products people drink. I don't think people are going to stop drinking Coke and Pepsi or stop going to McDonald's as a result of these treatments.